There are people who perceive the world in a different way, as if they see details that go unnoticed by others. They carry a sensitivity that cannot be explained merely as intuition. It is a deeper perception, built over silent experiences. Those who are chosen usually feel this difference from an early age, even without fully understanding why. It's as if they carry an inner mark, a kind of subtle guidance. The chosen ones don't follow the common flow. They question, analyze, and feel before acting. This trait makes many situations that seem simple to others become intense for them. Not because they are fragile, but because they absorb more, perceive more, and connect in a truer way. That's why life is rarely light for those who hold this deeper perception. They live on another level of awareness. At the same time, this special sensitivity works as protection. The chosen can see hidden intentions, avoid environments that harm them, and quickly recognize when something doesn't match their energy. This natural reading of the world isn't always easy, but it is one of the greatest strengths anyone can have. Most of the time, they don't understand why they are this way, but they feel there's a purpose behind it all. The journey of someone chosen often involves moments of silence, distance, and introspection. Not out of fear, but out of the need to preserve inner peace. Many don't understand this behavior, but those who are chosen know that some stages require withdrawal. It's in those moments that clarity arises, intuition settles, and the path begins to make sense. Before we continue this journey, I want to introduce myself. I am George, and it is an honor to walk with you. If this topic interests you and you want to follow more content like this, remember to subscribe to the channel. Your presence here makes all the difference. From a very early age, many people considered chosen carry a feeling that's hard to describe. It isn't social discomfort, nor shyness, nor a lack of adaptation. It's the perception that something inside them sees the world from an unusual angle. Even as children, they already felt they were observing everything more deeply than those around them. While others lived without much reflection, they analyzed gestures, attitudes, silences, and even hidden intentions. This difference doesn't appear all at once. It reveals itself in small moments of everyday life. It may be that feeling of disconnection at parties or gatherings, where everyone seems comfortable, except you. Or the impression that even when surrounded by people, there's an invisible distance between you and your environment. The chosen ones can sense when something is out of place, even if no one has said a word. This perception can give the impression that something is wrong with you, but it's not. It's simply a sign of heightened sensitivity. Over time, this perception shapes behavior. While many walk into any environment without hesitation, you always read the place before getting involved. It isn't judgment, it's natural protection. The chosen feel the energy of a space before noticing the objects in it. That's why when something is tense, heavy, or charged, the discomfort appears immediately, even if everything seems normal at first glance. This emotional intensity also manifests in the presence of people. It's common for the chosen to sense when someone is being false, even if that person is smiling. It's common for them to feel drained after speaking with someone who thrives on drama or confusion. It's common for them to withdraw from situations that seem harmless, but inwardly create restlessness. This is not coincidence. It's the way such souls are structured. Although this difference can seem inconvenient at times, it's a powerful strength. The chosen are better at identifying toxic environments, bad relationships, and conversations that aren't worth their time or energy. For that reason, they often avoid situations that would later bring pain. It's as if they had an inner signal saying, "Don't go that way." It doesn't mean they're always right, but it's rare for them to completely ignore the warning. This heightened perception, however, can lead to isolation. Chosen people often cannot connect genuinely with everyone. They need depth, sincerity, and reciprocity, qualities that aren't always common. So it's normal for them to feel out of place, misunderstood, or even misjudged. Not everyone understands someone who thinks so far ahead, feels so deeply, and sees so clearly. With time, this difference ceases to be a discomfort and becomes an understanding. The chosen realize they weren't born to blend in with just any environment. They were shaped to see what others can't, to perceive dangers others ignore, to walk through life with greater awareness than most. And although that ability sometimes brings solitude, it keeps them on the right path. In the end, the sense of being different isn't a burden. It's a kind of inner compass. It shows direction, prevents unnecessary falls, and keeps the spirit alert. For those who carry this perception, living will never be something superficial. There will always be depth, detail, intuition, and a quiet sense of purpose that manifests from the inside out. The journey of the chosen is marked by a common phenomenon: the spontaneous need for silence. Not a silence imposed by loneliness, but one that arises as an inner request for rest, clarity, and reorganization. While many seek distraction to escape their own emotions, the chosen tend to seek isolation to understand them. This isn't withdrawal, it's emotional maturity. This silence is more frequent in times of transition. When something is shifting emotionally or spiritually, the chosen feel the need to retreat, even if they don't immediately understand why. It could be a sudden discomfort, a desire to avoid conversations, an urge not to reply to messages, or simply a light wish to distance themselves from daily noise. This movement is natural for souls that carry above-average sensitivity. The distancing also happens with people, not always because of conflict, but because certain energies become incompatible with the current moment. The chosen recognize when a presence feels heavy, when a conversation drains energy, when a friendship stops adding value, or when a relationship starts to limit growth. Even without intending to, they gradually drift away, preserving what is most precious to them: their inner peace. Often this withdrawal is misunderstood. People may think you've grown cold, indifferent, or distant. But the chosen know this silence isn't rejection. It's self-protection. It's not pride, it's discernment. Not every environment deserves your energy. Not every person should access your thoughts. And not every conversation deserves your voice. Silence is a natural filter. This behavior is also part of a deeper process: refinement. When the chosen enter cycles of inner growth, any distraction can interfere, any conversation can divert, any external opinion can influence. That's why silence becomes a space where the mind can breathe and the heart can align. It's in those moments that the best decisions and clearest insights appear. Silence also reveals truth. Those who truly care about you understand your withdrawal. Those who once fed on your energy move away when they realize access is limited. This natural separation shows who stands beside you out of genuine connection and who was there only out of convenience. It's a painful process, but a necessary one. In the end, silence is not absence. It's preparation. It's realignment. It's strength being built from within. When a chosen one goes through this period, they return stronger, more centered, and more aware of who they are and what they need to do. Silence is the interval before the right response. It is the pause that precedes transformation. One of the strongest traits of the chosen is the uncommon intuition they carry. It is not a passing hunch, nor a vague impression. It is an inner perception that arises with clarity and strength, even when there is no external evidence to justify it. From an early age, the chosen learn, sometimes through pain, that ignoring this intuition usually comes at a high cost. It is a kind of silent protection that observes paths, people, and situations before you can even rationally process them. This intuition manifests in many forms. Sometimes it appears as a sudden discomfort in the presence of someone everyone else considers trustworthy. Other times it comes as an unexpected certainty that something isn't right, even when everything seems fine. It may be an impulse to avoid a meeting, a gathering, a message, or even a comment. That "don't go," which appears without explanation, almost always proves to be true later. The most interesting thing is that the chosen often feel this before any concrete event. While most people notice problems only once they've already taken form, the chosen perceive them before any visible sign appears. This happens because of the spiritual and emotional sensitivity they carry. They pick up on vibrations, intentions, and patterns of behavior that go unnoticed by most people. However, this invisible reading of the world is not something the chosen seek out. It happens naturally. Even when they try to ignore it, that perception persists. When observing someone, the chosen can notice details others would easily miss. Small changes in tone of voice, micro-expressions, hesitations, poorly chosen words, averted gazes. All these elements form an emotional picture that the chosen intuitively process. Yet this ability carries weight. Many times, the chosen see things they would rather not see. They identify intentions they would prefer not to know. They recognize falsehoods they would rather believe didn't exist. This can lead to frustration and even exhaustion, because the mind of the chosen rarely rests in environments where energy is unstable. On the other hand, this intuition protects them from many dangerous paths. It keeps them from trusting the wrong people, prevents them from entering situations that would drain their strength, and steers them away from opportunities that seem good but lack substance. This foresight spares the chosen from pains that others only discover too late. In addition, the chosen have a natural tendency to perceive movements within other people's emotional fields. They can sense when someone is hiding something, when they are nervous, acting out of self-interest, or approaching out of envy or curiosity. Even without evidence, they perceive it, and this perception is rarely wrong. There is also a sensitivity for recognizing repeating cycles. The chosen identify behavioral patterns in themselves and in others more clearly. They realize when they are about to repeat a decision that once caused them pain. This awareness allows them to change course before relapse occurs. At times, the chosen's intuition intensifies, as if warning that something important is about to happen. It can arrive as an inner silence, a sensation of invisible movement, a mild restlessness, or a sudden clarity. These signs appear at turning points, when major changes are approaching. In the end, this intuition is not just a gift. It is an inner compass that guides the chosen along paths where logic cannot always reach. It is their silent map, their protection system, and it is an essential part of the journey they came to fulfill. Every chosen soul goes through a process that, most of the time, is neither seen nor understood by anyone. Outwardly, everything seems normal, but inside, a deep reorganization takes place. It's as if something within the chosen is being dismantled and rebuilt piece by piece, always in the right order. This process is neither fast nor easy. It arrives silently, unexpectedly, and inevitably. One of the most defining phases of this process is isolation. Not a negative isolation, but a natural withdrawal that arises when the soul feels the need to recalibrate. The chosen notice that the world around them becomes too loud, too invasive, too superficial. Conversations lose their spark. Relationships lose their meaning. Some people simply can no longer connect with their energy. This distancing doesn't happen out of coldness, but out of the need for preservation. As the chosen grow internally, Everything that doesn't evolve alongside them begins to feel uncomfortable. This can include places where they once felt good, old habits, repetitive conversations, people who no longer vibrate at the same frequency, and even thoughts that no longer serve. During this phase, silence becomes an ally. The chosen begin to prefer moments of introspection, where they can listen to themselves without external interference. And it is not a sad silence, it's a constructive silence, an inner space where ideas organize themselves, emotions settle, and perceptions become clear. This period is also marked by deep reflection. The chosen begin to question everything: cycles, relationships, decisions, goals, and even the way they react to the world. Many describe this phase as an inner awakening, where they realize they can no longer live on the same frequency as before. The refining process also involves letting go of parts of the self that no longer serve. This includes traits such as over-explaining, the need to please, the fear of disappointing others, and the attempt to fit into places where their soul no longer resonates. This detachment can be painful, because it requires abandoning emotional habits that have long defined one's identity. But as those layers fall away, clarity emerges, strength emerges, authenticity emerges. The chosen realize they no longer need to struggle to be accepted, because the right people find them naturally. They no longer need to prove their worth, because their worth manifests in silence. They no longer need to chase anything, because what's truly theirs approaches effortlessly. Another aspect of this transformation is that the chosen begin to see possibilities where they once saw blocks. Their thinking expands. Their intuition grows stronger. Their fear diminishes. And their sense of purpose deepens. This doesn't happen overnight, but it happens with precision. Every inner advancement leads to an external change. Even though the process is silent, its effects become evident. People begin to notice the difference in their energy. Situations begin to align. Doors that were once closed open. Others close for good to protect their peace. And gradually the chosen realized that everything was happening so they could become more aware of themselves. In the end, refinement, isolation, and transformation are not punishments. They are necessary phases that reveal the true version of the chosen, the one that has always existed but needed inner space to emerge. It's through this process that they recognize themselves, strengthen themselves, and prepare for what they truly came into the world to do. There are moments in the lives of the chosen when everything seems heavier than usual. It's not just physical or emotional fatigue, but an overload that arises without any logical explanation. This feeling appears mainly when they enter crowded environments or interact with people who carry confused emotions, doubtful intentions, or unstable vibrations. Those who are chosen feel these variations as waves passing through their emotional field. In just a few minutes, they can become mentally exhausted, even without having done anything physically demanding. This happens because the chosen absorbs signals that many others don't perceive. They pick up on hidden tensions, unspoken words, masked fears, and unconfessed restlessness. This unconscious reading of the environment acts like an emotional filter, which is why their bodies react strongly to certain places. In crowds, for example, their perceptions intensify. Every external emotion feels like it's floating in the air. Every misaligned energy feels heavy. That's why, when they leave certain gatherings, they feel as if they have run a great distance, even if they were standing still. This exhaustion drives the chosen to seek distance from noise, conflict, and chaotic environments. This isn't escape, it's preservation. They need clarity to function. They need calm to think. They need space so that their intuition can continue operating without interference. That's why they often retreat. And in this retreat, silence becomes a powerful tool. Silence doesn't mean the absence of voice, but the absence of dispersion. For the chosen, it serves as spiritual protection. When they become silent, they stop creating openings for others to influence their emotions, decisions, and perceptions. Silence prevents them from reacting impulsively, something that could take them off their path. Silence keeps them from giving answers that are not yet ready. In this sense, silence is a shield. Often during these periods of withdrawal, people appear who try to pull them into unnecessary conversations, old conflicts, explanations that don't need to be given, or justifications that would change nothing. These people rarely seek understanding. They seek to drain. And because the chosen naturally share depth, they can become depleted if they're not careful. That's why in certain periods, the universe seems to close doors and cut off access. It's a way to protect them from draining situations that could hinder their evolution. Moreover, silence helps the chosen discern who is truly by their side. People who get uncomfortable when you fall silent aren't interested in your well-being. They're attached to the access they had to your energy. But those who understand your silence stay, respect, and even offer support. Silence reveals intentions. It precisely separates those who contribute from those who consume. This phase of withdrawal often appears right before great changes. When a major turning point is about to happen, life slows down, removes distractions, and creates an emotional field of focus around the chosen. It's as if the universe were saying, "Be quiet. Something is aligning." During this period, speaking too much can disorganize intuition and create noise right when clarity is about to arrive. It's also at this time that old patterns may try to resurface. Situations once overcome return as tests. People who used to cause exhaustion reappear, seeking responses. Old thoughts try to come back. These small temptations exist to gauge how much the chosen one has evolved. Silence, once again, is the right answer. It prevents emotional relapses. It breaks repetitive cycles. It keeps the chosen in the right vibration. There comes a point in the chosen's journey when everything seems quieter, slower, and yet more intense. It's as if life takes a pause before revealing something important. This moment often appears after phases of withdrawal, low energy, inner shifts, and natural distance from others. It is then that the chosen reaches the threshold of transformation. The fine line between who they were and who they are about to become. At this stage, the feeling can be confusing. There are days when everything feels too calm, and others when an inner pressure hints that something is on its way. It isn't anxiety, but a kind of silent preparation. The chosen feel it in their bodies, in their thoughts, and even in small, daily events. Things that once passed unnoticed begin to draw attention, as if they were subtle signs pointing toward a new era. This transition also brings a sense of emotional maturity. The chosen begin reacting differently to situations that used to unsettle them. They notice they no longer feel the need to respond to provocations, justify their choices, or participate in conversations that offer nothing. Patience grows, and impulsiveness fades. This is one of the clearest signs that something deep inside has realigned. Another important element of this phase is clarity of purpose. Even if the chosen still don't know exactly what lies ahead, they start to understand what they no longer want to carry. Their filters strengthen, their boundaries grow clearer, and what once clouded their minds now feels irrelevant. It's as if the universe were removing weight to make space for the new. Intuition also becomes sharper during this time. Ideas, insights, and perceptions appear effortlessly. The chosen understand what once seemed complicated. The mind no longer chases answers, they simply arise. It's the result of all the silence, all the withdrawal, and all the inner purification from the previous stages. And it's precisely when this clarity emerges that destiny becomes more visible. Paths begin to align without the chosen having to force anything. The right people arrive, opportunities appear, and important conversations arise naturally. This happens because when the chosen finally comes into alignment with themselves, the outer world immediately responds. This threshold is more than a pause. It's a milestone. It's the moment when the chosen realizes they're no longer merely trying to survive circumstances but have begun walking with purpose. They no longer seek approval, struggle against the flow, or try to explain their movements. They simply follow the direction their intuition points toward. And when this happens, it becomes clear that the entire journey, the silences, the losses, the distance, the fatigue, the sensitivity, the intuition, was preparing them precisely for this moment. The moment when they finally become the version of themselves that had always been trying to emerge. The journey of the chosen is never simple, but it is always precise. Every silence, every withdrawal, and every inner change shape the strength needed for the next stages. Nothing you have lived was a waste. Everything was part of the preparation for the moment when your true identity would begin to reveal itself. Now, with greater clarity and spiritual maturity, you are ready to walk towards something greater, with confidence and determination. Before moving on, leave in the comments a word that represents what this message awakened in you. I want to read it.